Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me? So shall we start with the session? हेलो, अभी आ रहा है ना आवाज? अरे नहीं, वो मैंने हैंड्स फ्री लगाया था, अब उसके बाद में वो निकाल के वापस सम ट्राई एंड एरर. It's do me also. Shall we start? I think 54 have joined. ना? Okay, okay, ठीक है. Okay, okay. तो mhm. So friends, very good afternoon to all of you. And we are now will be having this webinar on this topic: independent director, a new avenue for professionals. So I first of all let me tell what all the opportunities are there, and especially you will understand that because of this pandemic, therefore there is it's going to be a huge impact on the businesses. It is going to have impact on the economy as a whole. And being this finance fraternity, I'm sure that we are also going to see a lot of changes which are being taken place. And we as a professionals, we need to be geared up for this. What are the new changes which are coming? And of course, nevertheless, at the we also have to look at our own career, that how we should shape up. It's always said that whomsoever does it, who is the one adaptable to the situation faster, he ultimately emerges as a winner. So our attempt should be that how we should get better out of this challenge, or how we can convert this challenge into a opportunity. So that is what the session is. So let's start this session. So let me thank all of you for attending these sessions in very good numbers at very short time. So I'm really thankful to all of you. I'm sure that everybody is at home like me. So you can see the background also, it's not office atmosphere at all. So we are also, I'm also at home. So in case, some pop-up is there from the family members, or, you know, this can happen. So I request all of you to kindly excuse me for that. uh, and all of you stay home, stay safe, and utilize this time for this betterment of our just sometime happens that we as a professional, either practicing or as employed, we never have more time, isn't it? So we are not used to having so much of time. So if there is a time which is available to you, so that has to be better utilized. So let me start this session with this small introduction of mine, that I am Harshad Deshpande. My qualifications is I am a Master's in Commerce. I'm the fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. I am also company secretary. I have done the CISA, that is Certified Information Systems Auditor from Misaka, USA. I have done CIMA, that is Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, UK. I am also practicing as insolvency professionals and having a lot of insolvency assignments. I was one of the first valuers which I qualified into on early 2018, and on 1st of March, also that was the first date of the examination. I become the ID, that is independent director. So this is my small introduction, and I am also regional council member currently of this WRSC of Institute of Cost Accountants of India. So before we start this, I also would like to, some days back, a lot of people were playing this kind of a game wherein they could recollect some of the old pics and, comment on that, so that it becomes a memory for us. It's a good memory. So likewise, I just wanted to start that. Just imagine when we started our career and what was our role, or what we wish to be. So somebody wanted to become a manager, somebody wanted to become a CFO, somebody wanted to become a GM or something like that. So like that, now we understood that there is one more step up, that is to be on the board or become a director. So ultimately, any finance professional, of course, you would like to become a director and of course an entrepreneur. So this is a very good opportunity that is there for us, rather to step up and, instead of pursuing the career in stepping up this ladders in the management, we can straight away go and become the independent director. So it will be a very great opportunity, especially for those who are, working. So it can give them a lot of shortcut or very good accelerated growth in the days to come. So that's why it's very important. So you can see that in the pic above, you will see that everybody is just the chairs which are there in the pic. They are into one side, and there is one red chair which is not in the line of the other chairs. So that is what the independent director's role is. You have to stand up. You have to be yourself. You have to see the things unbiased. You have to act as a check. You have to act as a external check in order to protect the interest of the shareholders. So that is what we should be, and that is what this topic is all about. So what is the independent director? He should act as a guide, coach, and mentor of the company. So his role, we learned in this early careers in the operational management, that there is line function and there is a staff function. So independent director should act as a staff function. So you should put, the approach should be rather than getting the things done rightly, the approach should be the getting right things done, isn't it? So that the role of this independent director is to see to it that this company or the corporate is working in the best interest of the all stakeholders of the company. It helps improving the corporate credibility and governance standards. So these days very important to have this credibility, corporate credibility. Especially these days, you are now witnessing there are so many companies who are contributing, and they get a good credibility. And this credibility, of course, it's not just a kind of a goodwill or a good gesture, but it also results in certain benefits to the company. Companies can get a lot of tax benefits in doing such acts. Of course, it also gives a lot of weightage for them in terms of sustainability. They can get a better borrowing rates. They can negotiate with this financial institution better, and of course, uh, governance standards. So that also is a very important factor, especially you are looking out for an investor. So a company which is better managed and having a lot of better governance standards, it is very easy for them to find new investors or somebody taking up the stakes in the company. So they can definitely have a very good uh, benefits in terms of having this governance standards. So it should have a very good governance standards in order to curtail the cost, have the adequate knowledge about the company and the external environment in which it operates. So independent director should, of course, have the knowledge about the company. He should be independent with respect to his engagement, but he should not remain independent with respect to the company. He has to be a part of the company, and of course, at the same time, he has to have a check on the external environment in which this company is operating. Very importantly, report the matters concerning the unethical behavior, the actual or suspected fraud or violation of the company's code of conduct or the ethics policies. So these are some of the responsibilities which are being given to this independent directors. So if anything wrong, any fraud you are suspecting, so it's a role of the independent director to have a check on it. Safeguard the interest of all stakeholders, particularly the minority shareholders. See, what happens is that why we are talking so much about this corporate governance or the stakeholders. The reason being very simple. What happens is that in a corporate structure, the investor or this the stakeholder or shareholders and the management. So whomsoever is the owning or who has invested the money, he is not managing the company. So in such cases, it is very important that whomsoever is the agency which is acting on behalf of the shareholders or the stakeholders, so they should act in the interest of all shareholders. So it typically happens that if there is a public limited company, but the shareholding pattern is extremely concentrated. So it can happen is that some of the benefits definitely can pass on to certain group of shareholders in form of rather than management can pass on certain benefits to the certain stakeholders. So it should not happen. So that is what the role of the independent director is, and that is why the Companies Act also has a provision which talks about the importance of this independent director. And believe me, friends, that day by day it is gaining a lot of significance. If you could remember, this all started in 2000 late 1990s, wherein all these scams were getting, this Enron was there. So in this all, the regulators felt that there is a need of somebody who is having the expert knowledge and who is not biased to be on the board, so that if anything goes wrong, he would be a kind of whistleblower in order to protect the interest of the shareholders. Applicability. So this independent director provisions are applicable to all the listed companies. So whether they are listed on any of the stock exchange, it becomes applicable. So what it says is that the listed company, at least 1/3 of the total number of directors should be the independent director. That is what the section 149 of the Companies Act talks about. So any listed company, 1/3 of the directors should be a independent director. And if the chairman of the company is the executive director or executive chairman is there, so in that case at least half of the number of directors should be independent. So that is what the rule says. So you see that a lot of company may have number of independent directors should be on the board, especially in case of a listed company. The very important committee of this section 177(2) of the Companies Act talks about this audit committee, and it says that the minimum of its 3 directors should be independent directors. And it says that it must contain 2/3 of the members to be independent directors as per this SEBI listing obligations and disclosure requirement regulation. We call it as LODR. So this audit committee has to have 2/3 of its member as a rather independent director. So they should be, the purpose of the having this is that the role of the independent director is to make sure that there is a integrity and transparency with respect to the financial reporting of the company. The corporates are, of course, they are the commercial entities. So the stakeholders or the shareholders, they have invested the money in order to get returns out of it. So the financial reporting is very important, and this financial reporting, if it is not integrated or if it is not consistent with what the company's position is, so in that case perhaps it can result in scams like we have witnessed in many more days rather, and that is what should not happen. So that is why these provisions are there. So somebody was asking me a question that how many such companies are there. So in India, around there are 7,000 odd companies who are listed on the stock exchanges. So you'll see that the 7,000 companies need to have independent directors. 1/3 of these directors should be independent directors. So even if you look at the board of a company like Infosys, so Infosys has 8 independent directors. So of course, if you multiply this 7,000, so let us take a conservative number of at least 2 or 3 directors. You will see that the requirement perhaps would be of 14,000 or 21,000 number of independent directors would be required. Then public companies, if the paid up capital is more than 10 crores, or the turnover is more than 100 crores, or the aggregate loans, debentures, deposits, which are exceeding. So any debt portion which is in excess of 50 crores. So either of these conditions, do remember that it is or. So any of 3 conditions, any one condition gets satisfied, then the company has to have 2 directors as independent directors as per this company's appointment and qualifications of directors rules 2014. So again, the estimated number of these public companies around roughly around 10,000 plus. So we'll see that if 10,000 plus number of companies are crossing this, so they should have at least 2 directors. So take the total of this listed companies and public companies, you will find that there is an ample of scope for professionals, to have this opportunity to get engaged themselves as an independent director. Qualification. Who can become the independent director? A person of integrity and possess the relevant experience or expertise or experience. He should not be a promoter of company. That is very important. That anybody who is promoter, he cannot become. Not related to the promoters or director of the company. So related party concept is there. So anybody who is related to promoters or directors, so that also it becomes ineligible for he or she to become the director, independent director of the company. Has no pecuniary relationships, so we should not have any material financial transactions with respect to the company. Of course, this clause is there in order to ensure that this relationship do not disturb the independence of the directors, because if there is a commercial relationship is there, then perhaps the decisions can may not be the independent decisions. This in fact section 149(6) in detail talks about what this kind of relationships are, what constitute these relationships. So it is being well defined. So I don't want to take your time. You can just go to these sections about this 149, and you will see that what are all this pecuniary relationships, what it means. It is being defined. Then none of whose relatives is holding any security or interest in the company. So neither your relative should have any interest in the company. Not holds any position of managerial person. So you should not be a KMP. In fact, the regulations and rules say that if you should not also be, there should be a gap of 3 years. If you already served as a KMP of the company, you cannot become an independent director. The director shall possess appropriate skill, experience, and knowledge. Let me tell you that in the qualification, they have not prescribed any educational qualifications. So it is not necessary that one should be a professional CA or cost accountant or company secretary or something like that. So, or engineer, it's not being prescribed. So anybody can become the independent directors, provided he has appropriate skills. And he should not have this disqualification, what is being mentioned under section 149. So no educational qualifications are being prescribed. He should not be indebted to the company, nor he should have given any guarantee or any debts are there. Next point, that is that has not given any direct guarantee or provided any security in connection with the indebtedness of a third person to that company. So the idea of having this qualification is that to ensure there is an independence of the directors, and there are no commercial or financial transactions which can influence the independent director in order to act in a particular fashion. So as I said that there is no prescribed qualifications. So anybody, the intent of the provisions is that anybody, suppose there is a technocrat or there is some agriculturalist, so he may not have any formal education, but he could have appropriate skills and experience. So that shouldn't debar him to become the independent directors. So that is why they have not prescribed any educational qualifications. But what is new is that now from this Companies Act, there is a database. The provisions are there that this independent director should be from the database of the independent directors, and to qualify to get yourself registered as independent director, that name should appear in the database. Now, if your name has to appear in your database, so what they say is that you have to pass a examination. So there is a small examination which you have to pass. After the passing that examination, then you will be your name will be included in the database, and then thereafter you can become the independent director of the company. The provision also say that the people or the persons who are already independent director in a particular company, for them the time has given that they should within the time span of 6 months they should get themselves enrolled, or they should pass this examination and their name should be in the database, so that they complete this all this required provisions of the Companies Act, and these kind of people only would be allowed to act as a director. In fact, these provisions were to begin from this month April only, but current situation, all these relaxations are there. So you will see that this the implementation is slightly been extended, but nevertheless that gives the time to us, isn't it? To time to us to become the director, and we also can become the director when this company, of course, would like to have somebody on board. Now, exemption. So there is exemption what is being given to some people. An individual shall not be required to pass the online proficiency as a self-assessment test if he has served as a director or a key managerial person for a total period not less than 10 years as on the date of the inclusion of his name in the data bank for one or following companies: listed public companies, unlisted public companies having share capital of 10 crores or more, or body corporate listed on the stock exchanges. So what it says is that if you are having 10 years of experience as an independent director on the listed public company, or a paid up company, or a public company having paid up capital of 10 crores or more, or any listed stock exchange, if your corporate is being recognized, so in that cases there is exemption. So these are the people who can get the exemption if you're having more than 10 years of experience as an independent director. Rest all people, they have to pass the test, the self assessment test. Of course, I'm going to cover what this test is all about in my subsequent slide. So let us, I want to share a statistic. This was on 28th of March. So you will see that 14,815 independent directors registered in total. Out of that, 2,591 were the woman independent director registered. Thereafter, 1,274 are the companies registered in total, and 1,214 are the ones who have passed the online proficiency self-assessment test. So you will see that this statistics, out of 14,815 who are registered, as of now only 1,214 have passed this examination. So that gives that so many people are now in the pipeline to become the independent director. And you will see that, of course, this company is registered, and these people who have passed the examination, the ratio is right now 1:1, which is a very good demand supply kind of position. So it's a good time to enter into this examination and pass this early. I would also like to bring to your notice that there is a separate number of these 2,591 women independent directors. So it's a very good opportunity, especially for women to become independent directors, because just like there is a provision to have independent director on board, there is also a provision to have a woman director on board. So if suppose independent director also is a woman director, so that perhaps in a single by having one person on board, the number of compliances or this number of requirements of the various regulatory authorities can be fulfilled. So that's a very good opportunity for women to become independent director. And days to come, you will see that they, of course, there will be very good demand for them also. Now, empanelment of the independent directors on the data bank. So there are two steps. One is that registration on the MCA portal. So on the right hand side table, you will see that the what are the steps. So first of all, log into the MCA portal, mca.gov.in. So on the left hand side, you will see there is a section called as ID Data Bank Registration under this MCA services. So you can go on that ID Data Bank Registration. So in that there are two options. One is the individual registration and second one is the corporate registration. So individual registration means a person who intend to become an independent director. So we should click at a individual registration. The corporate registration is for the companies who intend to have the independent director on their board. Okay. So step 3 is that you have to enter your DIN number, PAN number, passport details and click on submit button. So here, yeah, either of three. So if you are having PAN number or passport or DIN number, so that is sufficient enough to you become independent directors. Many time, as of now, rather this DIN number is not mandatory. So what you can do is that you can first pass this test, and after on thereafter you can become when there is opportunity to become a director, you can take your DIN number, that is a director identification number, and digital signatures will be required. So at that point of time, you can do it. So with currently just PAN and passport, rather only PAN also is sufficient to qualify to appear for this examination. Then you have to enter your email address and mobile number, and they send you an OTP, which you have to verify. And after that, you will receive email about your credentials, about this login and password, and you will be redirected to portal. So in this independent director database portal, there is request would be that whenever the profile we do only mandatory fields, but here it's very important that you should fill this thoroughly, because on the basis of this profile and your experience and your educational qualifications, the uh, companies may choose you to become on board. So these credentials are being displayed on the data bank. So my request would be that everybody should fill it very thoroughly in order to become eligible and to improve your search, and let the company choose you to become the independent director. And after that, step 3 is the all this you have to pay the subscription fees. So the fee structure is there: 5,000 plus GST for a 1 year subscription, 15,000 for 5 years, and 25,000 which is a lifetime. So once you pay to this 25,000 plus GST, you will get a lifetime subscription. You don't have to pay anymore. So after doing this, your ID will be ready. Thereafter, you can take this self-assessment test, which is the exam which we have to pass in order to become the eligible to become independent director. So this is what the process of this empanelment is there. So what should have a valid DIN number or PAN number or passport. You have to do a registration on the MCA portal. You have to follow that process what I have given in the steps in on the MCA portal, and you have to also complete this process of on the independent director data bank process, and you have to pay the subscription fees. Responsibilities. So you can just see the pic that many times directors' independence has been questioned. You will see a lot of articles about this seeking how the rather this what is the intent of the act and how these provisions are being implemented. You will see that in the pic, some of the directors, even though they are sitting, they are not allowed to, or rather they are not speaking. So that really puts a question about this independence of directors. The role of the independent directors, especially the companies which are under controversies. So this is opportunity, but also you have to look at the responsibilities, what you will be facing as independent directors. So I've just, I wanted to discuss that portion also, that because you have to see both sides, upside and downside. So once you are looking at the opportunities, of course, you have to also look at the responsibilities which are you would be subject to. Now let's talk about this case of Satyam. So if you could remember, in 2006, the Satyam has won very famous Golden Peacock Award for corporate governance. And thereafter, before in fact this Mr. Raju disclosed his scam or fraud, you will see that there was a one company acquisition. The company name was Mytas. So if you just spell this Satyam in the reverse order, Maytas, Mytas. So that was the name of the company, and there was a the board was discussing the acquisition of this Mytas into Satyam. And at that point of time, the independent directors, three of the independent directors, were they have resigned, saying that because they could see that there was something which was going wrong, and that is how this whole Satyam balloon was busted. So that was a trigger point in case of Satyam. Recent case about the Tata Sons, again this role of independent directors was discussed when this Cyrus Mistry was removed as a chairman of the Tata Sons. The some of the directors were, especially independent directors, they were not agreeing with the view of the management. So it's very important that again at point of time this independent director role was very nicely uh, deliberated, and in fact you will see that many of these orders of NCLT or NCLT, they have in fact Supreme Court also the matter is now being discussed. The role of this independent director is discussed, and of course one more is that the Yes Bank, that again this what the questions are being raised about the role of the independent directors. I would also like to bring to your notice that the liabilities of the independent directors. So as a KMP, as a key managerial person under Companies Act, so the independent directors, they face these liabilities which are there for KMP. So all this criminal or civil actions which are there, which are subject to the KMPs. So that all gets applicable to independent directors. So that is why one has to be very careful with respect to the assignments that they have chosen to take. The provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and SEBI listing norms say that the independent directors can be held personally liable for any acts, omissions, commissions by the company with his knowledge or consent or convenience, or in cases where he has not acted diligently. So if you have missed, rather you have not you have done any act which is to your knowledge, or you have not acted diligently, then you are subject to the liabilities. Therefore, independent directors typically quit and seldom cite the reasons or reasons behind their decisions. However, there are certain exceptions. For instance, this R. Chandrasekhar of Yes Bank and Anil Khandelwal of this JM Financial ARC, they have cited the reasons as lack of governance as the reasons to step down. While Chandrasekhar quit due to the corporate governance concerns of the management of the company, the Khandelwal cited the variance in the corporate governance principles. So these were certain exceptions. I would also like to bring to your notice the one interesting article. This is on this live mint. Why independent directors are rushing for the exit door. The number of independent directors exiting without adequate reasons has been growing on year basis. Of 743 independent directors who have vacated their positions on board of the listed companies, 561 exited without adequate reasons before the end of their terms. So in fact, this article also has statistics which I will just put it to your notice. They have given the reasons for the exit. Okay, the reasons, you will see that the first reason, demise. So the cases were 42 in 2018. So this red orange graph, it is a 2017-18 number, and this blue one is 2018 number. Then non-attendance to the board meeting, 3 people. Not interested in reappointment, 1 person. Resigned due to health, 34 people in 2017, 32 in 2018. Resigned due to old age, 10 and 13. Resigned due to personal reasons, you will see that this number was 140 in 2018. Resigned due to preoccupation, 124. Resigned due to relocation outside India, there is 1 person. Resigned with no reason stated, 297 people. Retired due to superannuation or term expired, 80 people. The suspended, terminated, 1 person. Vacation of office, 21, and not known, 2. So you will see that this number of directors who have correctly given the reasons, if you just see the numbers, resigned due to personal reasons, resign due to preoccupation, and no reasons assigned. So if you take the same total of that, you will see that these numbers are so high. In fact, that constitute a major portion of the total resignations what you are having. So, however, there is a very welcome clarification by MC on 2nd of March. It says that uh, the clarifications on the prosecutions filed or the internal adjudication proceedings initiated against the independent directors, non-promoter and non-KMP, non-executive directors regarding. Okay, so there is a term of officer in default under section 260 of the Act, wherein this a KMP or a independent director can become the officer who is in default. Now, what the clarification says? It says that section 149(12) is a non-obstantive clause which provides that the liability of the independent director or non-executive director not being promoter or key managerial person would only be in respect of such act, omissions, commissions by the company which has occurred with his knowledge, attributed through board process, and with his consent or convenience, or where he has not acted diligently. In a view of express provisions of section 149(12), the IDs, that is independent directors, and NEDs, non-executive directors who are non-promoter and non-KMP, should not be arraigned in any criminal or civil proceedings under the Act unless the above mentioned criteria is met. Okay, so what it says that if the above criteria, that any act which is done, which is to the notice of the independent director, or he has given his consent, or he has not acted diligently, so in that cases only he would be held responsible. For other acts for which he is not a party, he will not be held responsible. So this is a very welcome clarification which was given by MC on 2nd of March, which again gives a boost to the profession of independent director, because you have seen a number of cases that for no fault of theirs, they are being unnecessarily being dragged into some prosecutions, either criminal or civil, and this clarification gives the immunity to them to act in the best interest of all the stakeholders. And that is why perhaps again you will see that the people who would like to become independent directors, they have this clarification in hand. So we have to ensure that this we have to act in order to ensure that we are acting diligently, and whatever we are giving consent to, that is what is our liability will remain as. So this independent director examination, early bird benefit. So the most importantly is that early bird benefit is, as I seen that the number of companies who are being as of now 1,300 companies were registered, and people who pass are almost the same. One who will pass early will have the early bird advantage. The company will be interested to make them independent director. So take this benefit of being passing early and getting this getting your name, this first. Then can appear from home. It's a very good point is that this independent director examination is being conducted from your home. You don't need to go any. It's a computer based examination. So what these agencies or this service provider do is that they take control of your laptop or your desktop. Using your web camera and your microphones, they do their supervision, and you have to appear for this examination. Before the examination appearance, you can take the mock test, or there are certain system requirements which are there, so you have to click on that. So they will test that whether this computer is fit to appear for the examination. So the point again is that when we are locked up at the home, so why not to take this opportunity to study this independent director examination and pass. So in fact, you will see that so many people are passing this examination while sitting at home. So this is a very good opportunity and very good thing about this independent director examination. New rules, regulation, notifications are expected. So what happens is that once this will start in full flow, you'll see that there are a number of regulations coming in, notifications are coming in, some case studies would be coming in. So what happens is that gets added to your syllabus. So once it gets added to syllabus, your examination content, it becomes more and more. So more the examination content, you have to spend more and more time. So as the days will go pass on, you will see that your study size is going to increase. So that is why it's important that you should uh, uh, appear as early as possible. The examination is a MCQ, multiple choice question. So one question, there will be 4 answers. Out of that, you have to select the right answer. So there will be a 50 questions. Uh, the duration would be 75 minutes or 1 hour 15 minutes. So each question you will have 1.5 minutes average. So there are 25 MCQs on board essentials, which are direct questions. So there could be a direct question that eligibility of this the independent director, or whether how many number of directors should be on the audit committee of listed companies. So this kind of a direct questions can come uh, in this board essentials. And there are 25 MCQs on the board practices, which are scenario based. So scenario based means there will be a kind of a case study. There will be uh, a scenario would be given, and you would as an independent director, or this kind of a case study questions would be there which you have to solve. 60% good thing is no negative marking. So anybody who's having very good fortune or luck, of course, this is very good examination. There are certain people who are having some very good luck, and for them you will see that they will pass at the earliest. Uh, Steps. The steps would be, first of all, to enroll on this IICA website or this independent director database .in website and pay your fees. Without paying the fees, they will not allow you to schedule your examination. Okay. Enroll and schedule the examination. So generally what happens is that we are never prepared for the studies. We are never 100% prepared with respect to the study for any examination. So we keep on postponing. Is it okay? I will schedule once I'm done the first reading of all this related material. Then time goes on, and then you miss out the opportunity. So my request would be that don't wait for that to happen. Rather, the starting point should be that schedule your examination. So once you pay the fees and schedule your examination, automatically you would be serious, and you will be giving the time what is being required to uh, appear for the examination, isn't it? So my request would be that schedule this examination as early as possible, and start your studies in the just like we are having this target costing. So targets you should set, and in accordance to that you can work on. Download Act rules regulations. So you can the materials which are available are sufficient enough. You can download this acts, the rules and regulations pertaining to the directors and corporate governance, SEBI regulations you can download. So that gives a lot of material to you. Then one more good thing is that there are certain courses which are available on the portal. The IICA website has very good courses. They are having 42 courses they are planning to have it, but right now only some of them are operational. So they are in the process of development of this portal. But you can just go through this, some of the videos which are available, some of the PPTs which are available, some of the study notes which are available on this portal. So this portal has got a lot of material which you can go through and study. Take a mock test. So there is a mock test which is also there on this independent director examination on that same portal. You can just try out a mock test for 2 reasons. One, to test that whether your computer is supporting the requirements of the system, so what is being required. And secondly, there are certain questions you will get to know that what kind of a questions would be there. And of course, you will get to know that in this mock test, there will be certain questions you will getting to know that these questions, it's better to know that these questions of course will not come to the final examination. So rather you will get to know that what are the questions will not come in the final examination. So that is also one thing that at least you should know that what should not we should not do. That is what this mock test will give you. So you can do a kind of a mock test to test where you are, and of course appear for the examination. pass as early as possible, and of course share with everybody. Now these days many of us have qualified long back, so that point of time there were no Facebook or any LinkedIn or any sharing mode, so we used to share everything amongst them. So these days the people who are passing, they are sharing like anything. So this gives the opportunity for us also to again share our results and become proud that okay, still we are studying and we can enjoy our success, isn't it? And of course, don't hesitate to share it to me also. I will be very happy to know that once you pass the examination, and that will be the success of this webinar, isn't it? That so there are 100 attendances there, so I expect all of them to pass as early as possible. There are a lot of opportunities, so we should get the benefit as early as possible. Then after passing, the next step is be selective for the assignments. So that's the reason I have given you both sides, that upside downside. So based on that, be selective with the assignments, and as per the regulations, you can undertake only 7 assignments. So that is how the steps are there. After that, you can see in the down below picture that you also would be happy professionals, happy directors like the ones you are seeing in the picture. Okay, so I'm just still there are 15 minutes to go. So we will discuss a kind of a scenario or a case study which perhaps you would be facing as an independent director. So outline of the case. So you are a non-executive director of a medium-sized company, and the company's finance director, who is also company secretary, is advocating that the company make an acquisition and implied that the company does not act quickly, the opportunity will disappear. CEO also has said that she want to move quickly, but however you are not convinced the figure which are presented to you, and you are also indicate that the acquisition is currently not the right thing to do, and you think that it warrants further discussions. So 1 year ago, shortly after you had joined, a similar decisions was made uh, to you seem to be unusual given the company's trading position at that point of time. However, none of the other board members who were there on the board for several years challenged the CEO. Now you have tried to contact through a company an independent specialist to get an expert or impartial view of the acquisition. However, the CEO seems to be discouraging you from proceeding with this. Now you are considering whether you should raise your concerns with the other board members or simply allow the company to go ahead with the what could be a profitable acquisition, you never know. And should you insist on waiting for the impartial professional advice at the risk of the company missing out the opportunity of the acquisitions? So these are the kind of dilemmas you will be facing as an independent director. If you don't act, you say yes, that is a problem because you yourself are not convinced about this acquisition. Secondly, if you say no, then also there is a problem because perhaps it can be a profitable acquisition, and because of your no, the company may lose out the opportunity. And if you hold on, that is also a problem because there is a time is the essence of this kind of a transaction. So if time you goes on delaying, perhaps it can result into missing out of the opportunity. So the question is that how we should tackle such situations. So again, for that, you have to go back to the key fundamental principles. First of all, objectivity. Is your objectivity is compromised by the pressures from the CEO or the financial director to push through the decisions, or by close working relationship you may have with other members on the board or management? So whether you are objective, your approach is objective or not, that first of all you have to see as a fundamental principle. The professional competence and due care. Is it appropriate to seek expert advice, or are you in fact attempting to make your concerns more palatable by asking someone else, namely expert, to express them? So you want to express it to somebody else or what? Is there time sufficient for you and independent expert to consider the situation fully? So whether that expert is would be having the complete view of the scenario or not, you should know the company very well. And doing all these things, whether you have got a time in hand. So that is also one more question which is there. Confidentiality. in seeking the expert advice, can you ensure you maintain the confidentiality over the commercially sensitive information? So that is also one more thing you have to keep in mind, that there should not be any breach of confidentiality of this commercially sensitive information. Professional behavior: if the acquisition goes ahead and subsequently there is a high profile failure, so would you be able to defend your actions being appropriate? Would people be able to see and comment favorably on and the part played by the non-executive directors in decision making to acquire? The professional behavior also means complying with the relevant laws and regulations. Have the applicable company law provisions have been considered? So these are the certain questions or fundamental principles that you can use to answer this legal situations. So what the steps you can take to help resolve this situation? First of all, seek further information and opinions and how necessary it is really to make the decision quickly. So without breaching confidentiality, of course, you cannot breach the confidentiality clause, but see to it that whether it's really a quick decision is required or not. Consider whether and adequate debate about the outcome of the process, such as identification of the risk and potential awards. This is being considered. Consider seeking your own legal advice or contacting some jurisdiction. The director's duties are codified in the law, and it needs to be taken into account while deciding the course of action. So, so these are some of the steps. Even if it doesn't work well, the steps being case study, there is no kind of right answer. There are certain views, and every answer can be a right answer depending upon your context and the scenario and the situation. But if this course also doesn't help you, then you should be vocal. You should raise your concerns in the board meetings. Not only raise, but also you should ensure that this all gets duly minutized in the minutes of the meetings, and you should carry a copy of such proceedings with you. And still, if you are not convinced, then the final thing is that you should put your papers down. You should be you should be resign. You should quoting the reasons, appropriate reasons. You can always resign from the such kind of assignment which you think that which are not appropriate. So documentation plays a very important role while handling such kind of assignment. So I request everybody to be very diligent about this processes and be you should have proper documents in hand in order to support the course of action what you have chosen, and any backup papers which can can provide a further help to you if nothing goes right as you have this thing. So to sum up, CA, CMA or CS as independent directors, the advantage is that we are knowing this companies act very well. So there is a good probability that we can appear for this examination and pass early, and we know the provisions, so it is a very good thing. So we are of course recognized to act as independent directors, but of course there should not be any conflict of interest. For example, if you are doing the audit of the company, so the same company you cannot become the independent director. Whether it's holding or subsidiary company also should not become the independent director, so that the independence is not compromised. And also the people who are working in the employment, they should ensure that there should not be any financial relationships. So you cannot become a director. So you cannot become a director in your subsidiary or okay, you cannot become a director in your subsidiary or a holding company. So that you have to take care. Then with the mix of well-versed flow of operations and business and having the commercial and financial expertise, the professional CS, CMACS are having the edge in this evolving profession. So being the financial expertise and also commercial and business sense, we can act as a better independent directors. And we are also very much well versed with the provisions of this Companies Act and the role what you have to play. So professionals can appear for this limited examination and take the benefit of this new avenue to become the part of the top ladder of the corporate and to become the independent directors. So that's all from my side. So I just open up this for any questions you would like to ask me. So you can also later on also ask me any questions on this email address which is given on this presentation. Okay, so you can just send me over email. You can also, I will be sending this in the form of article on this CA Club India or taxguru.com. You can also follow me on this LinkedIn or Twitter handle, Harshad_DE as a Twitter handle. So I think I have covered most of the points what I wanted to ask. Yes, a couple of points perhaps. I missed out is that remuneration of the independent directors. Ultimately, we should be knowing what for which we are doing, what should be the remuneration. So the Company Act says that independent directors can draw a remuneration. He can be paid a sitting fees. He can also be paid the commission out of the profits, but he is not entitled to any stock options. So you will not be issuing any ESOPs or any stock options will not be there for you. The maximum sitting fees can be paid are 1 lakh rupees per hearing. So you can be paid 1 lakh rupees per hearing. So that is what the maximum is there as per Companies Act. Okay. So rest all of course will remain as means based on your negotiating power. So I will just open up any questions are there. Okay, one more question I just perhaps would like to take is that whether a practicing chartered accountant, cost accountant, or company secretary can he become the independent directors? So as per the code of conduct, there is a bar to become a whole-time director or managing directors, but for professionals there is no bar. So you can become independent directors while continuing uh, your current engagement as a professional. So of course you cannot do kind of independent directors roles for your own clients, but you can do it for the other companies. So you definitely are practicing. Employed people also they can become independent directors. Of course, not in the company where they are working or their subsidiary or holding company, but some other companies they can work. But provided your company should give you such authority to work on. Otherwise, law doesn't prohibit you, so you can act as independent directors. So this opportunity is not there only for the practicing people, but also for the uh, employed people also. In fact, for them it's good that instead of switching over a job from one designation to another, you can step it the another organization with the as an independent director. So this I think we are just a minute away. So I really thank all of you for your patiently listening. And as I said that if there are certain questions still remain, you feel free to send me over email or any in more medium. I'll be very happy to answer it. And especially thanks to Virak for organizing this webinar and spreading this knowledge. And it's my privilege and my pleasure to attend all of you. I hope you will find this presentation and this webinar helpful to you. And please do let me know once you pass the examination. And that will be a kind of a real appreciation for me that because of this webinar somebody has been really helped. So that is what I measure that as a success. Okay, so with this, I thank all of you. And if anything is there, Virak, you can just take it over. Okay, sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. See you.